Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchins.
Whitetail Rendezvous is pleased to announce a partnership with GoHunt.com. Who's GoHunt.com? Well, if you're a DIY hunter
in the western states of the United States,
you need the information at GoHunt.com/insider. Why? Because it provides 4,200 profiles, every unit, every species, and every season. Furthermore, they give in-depth analysis, interactive maps, unit access, and seasonal trends. Draw odds are very important, and they give you the most accurate information in the business. All this is available when you go to GoHunt.com/insider. Make sure you use promo code WR when you join Insider. You'll get a $50 gift card for GoHunt.com Gear Shop. All in all, if you're hunting out west in 2018, GoHunt.com Insider is where you need to be to get all the research information. When you use promo code WR, Whitetail Rendezvous receives a small commission from GoHunt.com.
welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchins, and we're going to go to South Africa. South Africa, yeah, with David Freeburn of Dave Freeburn Safaris. And we're going to join Melanie Peterson in a park in Pinedale, Wyoming. And we're headed down to Oregon, or over to Oregon, since I'm in Colorado, with Mark LeCue. And we have a unique story to share because Melanie is going to first share about winning the Extreme Huntress contest for 2018. And then it's going to lead to a conversation she had with Dave. And then they had ended up in Cape Town or Joburg. I don't know where she flew into. Anyway, and then hunted South Africa for Cape Buffalo with an air rifle. Melanie, welcome to the show. Mark, welcome to the show. And Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bruce.
You're up, Melanie.
Well, I may get rained on in this interview, but we're gonna, I won't melt, I promise. So yeah, I won the Extreme Huntress competition for the 2018 season, and it's actually getting underway to select a 2019 winner here in another week or so. But I wanted to do something with the title that made a difference, made some impact, and I met both these crazy guys over the course of my journey at various SCI shows, and in visiting with Dave, I decided I wanted to shoot a Cape Buffalo with an air rifle, which has never been done before, and I think I got the raised eyebrow look for a little while, and he required us to prove to him that it could really be done. To be quite honest, I haven't picked up an air rifle in probably 25 years, and it was a BB gun, but they're not your father's BB guns anymore. They're big bore air rifles, serious weapons. And through a lot of testing and a lot of hard work on my outfitter's part, Dave was able to secure a permit from South Africa, and off we went.
So, Dave, what did you think when Melanie came up to you and suggested this at Dallas Safari Club?
Yeah, well, at first, she's a very convincing lady. And we had a chat about it, and I didn't think she was very serious in the beginning. And then she came past the booth the next day and said, listen, this is really something she wants to do. And I said, well, okay. I had to check the legality on everything. And as far as it was legal and we secure a permit, it was all guns blazing. And I did have some reservations of the penetration, the distance we needed to be within close range proximity of the buffalo. But with buffalo hunting, it's usually close quarters anyway. So I think putting all those facts together, it was something that kind of intrigued me. But I did have some reservation, and she did have to prove a little bit. Mark had developed the bullet, and once they sent me all the literature regarding that I needed to secure the permit, it was something to look forward to and something to do something that no one else has done. Excited all of us.
So before we get into the hunt, Mark, let's go back on the technical side of it, because everybody thinks of, a Daisy air rifle or a Crossman air rifle And you're going after a buffalo which weighs 1,800 pounds or so, and is part of the Big Five. Correct, Dave?
Correct, yeah. And as mean as hell. There's the old saying that when a buffalo hits the ground, he's angry. So it's not an animal that most people think of hunting their first animal in Africa. That's for sure.
Yeah, this process, is one of those things. Again, we didn't take lightly. Melanie, when she talked to me at the SCI show, about what she was going through to set this up and how she had it kind of programmed in her mind of what she wanted to happen, not hunting it from just a ground blind, but actually getting out on the ground with the animals, doing the spot and stalk. I knew she was serious about what she was talking about because she'd already done a lot of the background homework, even by the time I spoke to her, which couldn't have been but maybe a couple weeks after Dave and Melanie tied in together. And so when she brought the idea to me, we had the discussion about what type of air rifle, how we were going to do this, the technology, where it's come, what we were looking for energy-wise. And then I didn't feel that there was a bullet on the market that really was designed to do this, a low-velocity, dangerous game round for even pistols, muzzleloaders. I just didn't feel like anybody had addressed that issue. And so when she talked to me, it just seemed like a perfect release for an idea that I'd been working on for the past, well, I hadn't been working on it. I'd had it drawn up for the past 15 years, but no real reason to develop it. And so when she said she was going to kill a Cape Buffalo with an air rifle, I knew the velocity would be around 1,000 feet per second. And I knew that with my past, being a professional hunter, what it would take to kill a buffalo with, a projectile that was moving at that velocity. And so we went ahead and developed what we call the warhead bullet, which is a break from traditional bullet designs. It has a lead jacket and a solid core. So instead of your traditional bullet being a jacketed soft point with a copper jacket and a lead core, we've moved things around and we've gone lead on the outside to engrave the rifling at low velocities and to maintain that speed that we want. And then we went with a brass core for the round, and we hot pour the lead around that. And so that gives us a bullet that's somewhat homogeneous in its behavior, but it maintains a very sharp cutting ring around the nose. As we machine the cores, we build in a ring in the front end, and I'll show you one here in just a little bit, that will cut and keep a wound channel open. And I knew that we needed that because animals in Africa have a really innate ability to shut down large arterial bleeds in different ways by constricting those. And we needed a permanent wound channel that would allow that animal to expire quickly and efficiently.
Plus, they're heavier bone, correct?
They are.
I mean,
yep. I'm going to just sneak off here and grab one of our cores.
So this testing required, I've never hunted South Africa before. This was my very first trip, and I've obviously never shot a Cape Buffalo before. So I was asking lots of questions of Dave. I'm like, hey, what kind of penetration do we need to get? How thick is the skin? How thick is the bone structure? And so we actually set up a mock buffalo hunt in my backyard in Texas. And I went down to Tandy Leather and I got several pieces of 1/4-inch thick hide. And we basically created a 2-inch thick skin on top of a 3/4-inch plywood Cape Buffalo. We backed it with 2 inches of solid oak. And then we shot through 16 inches of ballistic gel. And we set up at 50 yards, which was always going to be our target distance, and just to see what these bullets would do. And it not only went clean through everything, it actually shot out the back of the 16 inches of ballistic gel.
So it blew out the ballistic gel. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
And how big was the wound channel?
The wound channel is more of a projectile. I mean, the bullet itself is probably, what is that?
It's 457. So the wound channel that is permanently created, you can see the ring there. If I can hold this thing steady, you can see how next to that little tip that protrudes, there's a ring right on the edge. And we machine that into the brass cores so that is the diameter of a permanent plug that comes out of the animal. So as that goes through the first layer of hide and bone and whatnot, it actually disrupts and cuts at least that out of the way. Now, this is just a core. This doesn't have the lead around the core that we would have on a finished product. But this is what creates the permanency in the wound channel. It's just that little simple ring right there. That's what allows the fat to not congeal or the tissue to not shrink back up. Like on a round nose bullet, the bullet pushes through and the tissue immediately closes around behind it. And so we wanted to make sure that that was a permanent hole that we created. And so that's the core of the warhead bullet right there.
Amazing. And you said around 1,000 feet per second come at the moment?
Yeah. Our target goal was 950 feet per second. We had Terry Tate from Professional Big Bore Air build us a rifle. He's had 25 years of experience in the airgun industry, building, tinkering, hobbying, and it's just a passion of his. And when we discovered him kind of with the other, there's about 7 other, custom makers that we looked at. Terry was just, the simplicity of his rifle is such that it allows for international travel a lot more easily than some other gas guns. And so his gun is just a very simple mechanism. He has kind of a bolt action loading port, that you would recognize from a traditional bolt action rifle. And he has a cocking lever on the other side, which charges the hammer. This is what compresses the spring, and the hammer goes forward and allows the gas port to open so that gas comes in behind the round and down the chamber. And so these air rifles are not what we would typically find, in any store. They're not horribly expensive for custom guns. Terry's guns start at between $1,500 and $1,800. And Melanie's going to be having a Melanie Peterson line of rifle that's to our specification for people to hunt internationally with. And you can prime this gun with just a hand pump. You do not have to take all the other accoutrement that goes with the typical big bore air rifle. We discovered, this was a learning process for Melanie and myself and Dave. And we took a lot of extra gear in the advent that we needed it. We took compressors, bottles, tanks, lines, everything. But what we've come down to after this experience is the ability to field a rifle and a hand pump that a person can take into the field and go international with just a gun case. It's so much simpler to do it this way than to pack all the other items that you might need. And that's why Terry's gun was kind of our choice. It fit our bill for simplicity and power.
Where's the reservoir? Go ahead, Melanie.
I said, you have no idea how bad I want to insert the little videotape of Dave air pumping that rifle up to 4,000.
It does take about 75 to 100 good strokes on that hand pump to get this up to 45. But you can see his rifles have a little air gauge, and then the air chamber is the lower of the 2 cylinders, with the barrel being free floated up above. And so, and of course, Melanie has a great camo pattern that I was a little dubious of until I saw it. And this camo pattern is a kind of a takeoff of a leopard print and what appears to be a zebra combo. And it is absolutely perfect for hunting Africa. It was really shocking. I was like, wow, that's not going to work. And it works perfectly.
Do you create that, Melanie?
Yes,
Did you create that pattern?
Yes, I did. I'm ashamed to say that I actually took pictures of clothing that I had in my closet.
I'm not kidding you. If you set this down in the bush, you won't find it again. It just disappears. And it's really quite handsome the way it turned out. I love it. And so this is the gun we used. This is the 457 professional big bore rifle from Terry. And you can see he's just a phenomenal craftsman. His fit and finish is exceptional. We've been working with him in hopes that he will produce a double rifle that he has been working on for the last few years. And so we're looking forward to pushing him kind of into the future with a new double dangerous game rifle. Air rifle.
Air rifle. All right, let's get back to the hunt. So,
Okay.
Dave, Melanie shows up. How does she do on the range when she sights in, after getting off the jet and everything, and you want to, you've seen the videos and everything, but now, it's go time. So how'd she do, from the get-go?
Well, taking the rifle to the range, obviously very skeptical. Still hadn't seen the finished product in the field. Once everything was pumped up and ready to go, and we got the gun sighted in on the range, I was actually very impressed with the impact that we could see on the actual target at about 50 yards. It gave me a lot of confidence. Her accuracy sighting in the gun also gave me a lot of confidence. Her willingness to take instruction when needed was putting together a good package that we would be safe doing this buffalo hunt, of course, was also a concern. Having Mark in the background also as a second PH, knowing that we've got 2 camera crew, Melanie, trackers, and myself, safety was key. So we didn't go into the bush just blindly thinking that this was all going to be easy. So once the gun and Melanie sighting in and everything was to my satisfaction, we headed off into the field to see if we could find ourselves a Cape Buffalo.
So tell me about the first mock stalk, so if you will.
Well, the first idea was actually to shoot maybe a smaller species like a blue wildebeest or an impala, just to get ourselves, accustomed to the stalk with 8 people in the bush. But being Africa and very unpredictable, on our very first morning at 8 o'clock, we bumped a herd of about 17, 18 bulls. Glassing the herd, we could see, well, I could see with the tracker as well that, and Mark's help, that we had 2 possibly good shooter bulls in there. They were leading the herd, feeding towards us. But I don't know what happened. The wind changed or something happened. But the herd actually started running towards us. Something spooked them. And that was about 200 yards. And I said to Melanie, I said, well, this is going to happen a lot quicker than I thought it would. And the herd ran towards us. The younger bulls split off to the right, and we had the 2 dominant or main bulls just come, charging up the road. And,
Great training.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2-track, they weren't paying much attention to the 2-track that we'd snuck down either. They come crashing through the bushes. I mean, the terrain that we were dealing with, just to give you a little bit of a picture, in South Africa, they'd had a huge rain season, and it was late. And so the bush was as thick as I'd ever seen it in 20 plus years of doing this. I had never seen the bush as healthy and as vibrant as when we were there. And so these things are coming through just thorn thicket material, and we're sneaking down kind of an open 2-track area that had been overgrown, and here these things are moving through the bush. It's not like they were giving Melanie any grace. I mean, they were coming through a thorn thicket that we had to go through later on as we were doing some tracking, and it would take people, a few minutes to get around some of these thickets, and these bulls were just pushing through it. I mean, they were intent on getting as close to us as possible, which was really exciting.
Very close.
Yeah. How do you find very close?
Well, what actually happened? What happened there is that while they were coming through the thicket and snorting and bellowing, so the black brush there, as we call it, very similar to what you guys in South Texas as well. You can see through the bush, but you can't actually see what's going on there. You could see the outline of the buffalo, but literally, I think it was maybe 10 to 15 yards at the most. These bulls stopped and kept on snorting at us. And, I had Melanie up on the sticks at this stage. Mark was to the left of me. I was on the right trying to see which bull would be the better one to shoot. And I said to her, listen, you better get ready. And if something happens, it's going to happen at 15 yards.
Yeah, so Dave's sitting there on his backside with binoculars up, and his double is kind of braced against him. And we all try and keep our guns really close in events like this. I mean, PHs, you never give your gun to somebody. You never hand it to another person. It's just always right there. And Melanie turns and she looks back at me over her left shoulder, and then she looks over at Dave, and she looks back at me like, why doesn't he have his gun in his hands? And I was sitting there kind of chuckling to myself, because we do kind of take it for granted as professional hunters. We see these things play out more times than our clients. And Melanie was like, tell him to get his gun up. And Dave's just kind of picking out a trophy. That's what we do. Our focus is trying to pick out the
That was
scenario.
definitely that was the PG version of what I really said.
I was trying to be politically correct.
He was trying to be kind.
Yeah, she might have said some things to Dave that were a little more motivational than Dave was just as calm as could be, and he's like, okay, if he steps out, you're going to have to shoot him, because of course at that point, 10 yards away, there wasn't going to be a choice. I mean, if this bull had chosen to come around the last remaining few vestiges of vegetation, Melanie would have had to shoot him. I mean, that's just how you have to start. You can't script some of these things, and no matter how good Dave is, he can't make bulls do.
Here's a hot special for all Whitetail Rendezvous listeners. The Hunting Buddy app is giving away an all expenses paid free-range whitetail hunt at ABC New York Ranch this fall. You'll be hunting with NASCAR driver Spencer Boyd and the Hunting Buddy team, all the while being filmed by a professional film crew from Rush Outdoors, as seen on the Pursuit channel. To enter the contest for free, go to huntingbuddyApp.com. Click the Huge Hunt Giveaway section tab and download the app. When you upgrade to the Outfitter plan, you get 30 additional giveaway entries. Hunting Buddy app is your best choice for staying safe in the woods with their patent-pending safety notification system. So Lunar information including peak game, activity times, current and future weather forecasts, land ownership, hunting waypoints, group hunting, and so much more, all for free from Hunting Buddy app. That's HUNT_N BUDDY app.
Exactly what we want them to do.
And so just listeners, so there's an 1,800-pound bull 10 yards away. We have a air rifle that's been, tricked out, and it's quite capable of doing the job. And Mark, what did you have in your hand as a PH on the left side?
Being that I was one of the last Americans in Botswana to get his professional hunting license, I used to carry, and it was very indicative of me with my clients, an 1886 4590 lever action rifle. That was and has been my backup rifle. And so I took the old girl out of retirement and brought her back into South Africa. And I shoot a 450 grain bullet at around 2,000 feet per second. It doesn't quite compare to Dave's 500 Nitro. Dave's 500 is one of those pick an animal up and throw it to the ground guns. Mine's more of a stop right there, try not to come any closer gun. So it was a good combination to have.
That 500 Nitro is the sexiest rifle on the planet.
Woo! Bernie, I'm not kidding you. Bernie Carone, is giving Holland and Holland a real run for their money. Bernie does great work, and that 500 balances perfectly. It's really a nice gun. And that company puts together some good products that we really appreciate. The innate beauty of the wood to metal fit and finish, and how he balances the weapons. It's impressive.
So for the people that don't know, it's Dave. Tell the listeners who shoot 30-06s or 30-30s at whitetails that weigh maybe 200 pounds, maybe more, maybe less. And so tell us about the sexy side-by-side.
Well, every professional hunter dreams to carry a double rifle. It took a few years to save up some money, and I got this gun custom made by Bernie Caron about 4 years ago. Special engraving, perfect fit for me. And my original caliber that I wanted was a 470, but being a man and a little persuasion from the from the gun company themselves, I upgraded to a 500 Nitro Express.
And so that's a 500 grain bullet. Is that correct?
It's actually 565 grains that Dave drives, or 575 is about the heaviest they go, and it drives them at about 2,200 feet per second. And so we were shooting an air rifle to kind of bring this back around with a 385 grain bullet at around 950 feet per second. And so it's about half of what the 500 does, comparably speaking. But the energy levels and how you deal with air guns, air guns we don't operate their power levels, based off of feet per second. They calculate it based on foot-pounds of energy. And what we're looking for in big game rifles that are air-driven is energy levels above 750 foot-pounds of energy. And that seems to be the ticket for breaking bone, deep penetration, and really getting, moose, elk, bison, buffalo, bear down on the ground effectively.
So when your bullet hits, what's it hitting the Cape buffalo or any animal, Dave?
Dave's 500? Dave's 500 produces around 5,000 foot-pounds of energy, but his velocity, you can see how that correlation, the velocity really, as your velocity goes up, your energy level goes up dramatically. So at 1,000 foot-pounds, a similar kind of bullet from an air rifle is only producing about a fifth or so of the power. And I think we lost Melanie.
Melanie, are you still here?
Hold on. Let me see her.
I'm back. Nice thing about a 500. Nice thing about Dave's 500, of course, is that security. I mean, at touching distance, which is what professional hunters typically wait for. We don't like shooting our own guns because they're expensive. And so at touching distances, his 500 is one of those things that just slams animals to the ground. And that's what a proper backup rifle needs to do.
He let me shoot his rifle once. Well, actually, I shot it twice, but once was enough. I actually have a video. The damn thing nearly knocked me over.
Yeah, the 500 will physically make you take a step backwards unless you're used to shooting it.
Yeah, I took a step.
Yep. It's one of those things where you do have to catch it. I mean, it's coming to you. That rifle at 15 pounds is still motivating you to move your body in a rearward direction.
Oh my goodness. So, Mark, I think you have a picture of Melanie with her buffalo.
I do. I have a picture of her, and I'll go ahead and pop it up on the screen here. I'll do my best to. There you go.
If you give him a task, then he doesn't talk so much.
Yeah, I know. I have a hard time shutting up, so you're going to have to tell me to do that every now and then, Bruce.
Okay. So, screen share, if you
Did I hit it? Is it not up? It's up on mine.
Not up.
You have disappeared.
No, you've disappeared, and
I did the same. I thought I did the same thing. Obviously, technology and I are enjoying.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, it came up that time.
Okay, but we don't.
the
picture. There you go. Thank you very much, Melanie.
Go.
Let's talk about this. Well, yeah, what's the sensation there? And we did a part 1 segment, folks, about the why of hunting. So, what are you thinking about? You've been around hunting all your life and running outfitting camp or in Wyoming, and now you're with one of the big 5.
So I got to tell you, when just moments probably after this picture was taken, I literally had tears because it was a moment that there was a culmination of all the planning and the testing and are we going to get a permit? Are we not going to get a permit? Is this going to work? Is it not going to work? It was just such an emotional sense of release that I literally was teary in the picture.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that, and folks, you read Chapwick or Rourke or some of the people that went to Africa, back in the day of tents, and they still have tents. But anyway, you think about that, and then Melanie just put herself back in time, but she brought technology with her, and that's what that picture speaks to me. It's a lady that went back in time to do the hunt, but brought technology today. And I'm going to segue into their new business, Melanie Peterson Outdoors. So how does this all work? Just leave that picture up, Mark, and Melanie. Just share with us about Melanie Peterson Outdoors.
Well, after I won the Extreme, I've been a guide, for 25 years, but after I won that title, I wanted to do something extraordinary. I wanted to do something that was going to promote not only women in the industry, but I also wanted to give hunting a fast forward. And when I started looking into these air guns, I thought, you know what? Little tiny kids, 7, 8, 9 years old, they can carry these air guns. And what a fantastic opportunity to introduce somebody to this sport that we all love so much, with a seemingly harmless air rifle. It just is almost like a baby step into what we're hoping is going to be a lifelong passion for these people. I wanted to make a difference, and so doing this was, I've heard it's a publicity stunt. It was just all for show, and that there was no purpose behind it. But I wanted it to be with purpose, and I wanted it to be ethical. And um, I think that if anybody really knew the countless hours that all of us spent proving that this can be done before a shot was ever fired at an animal, I think that they would see that it wasn't something that was just done haphazardly and a stupid idea. Now, there was moments in my hunt that I thought this was a really stupid idea. I was scared. I mean, you're talking about unproven technology. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared. Um, yes. So the emotional release when it was done and it was successful, and the weapon performed exactly as the way it should. The animal died humanely, and I just really feel that it was a success all around. And I'm hoping that this really kickstarts a whole new generation of hunters.
Dave, your thoughts as a PH and as an outfitter?
Well, first off, yeah, I mean, to do this and think about it, and that Melanie did it, and still in it's safe, that's the main thing for me as an outfitter, to make sure we all walked away from this. Shooting buffalo, I've got no reservations in terms of shooting any plains game with a big bore rifle like that. It's definitely sufficient. I think key to this whole success story was the planning and the hours that we put into this, and coming together, myself, Mark, and Melanie, proved the winning team. And yeah, what can I say about the rifle? The rifle impressed me. It met my expectations and more. So there's definitely a future for it. I think the more people we can expose to big bore air rifle hunting, the better, and the bigger it will get.
Mark, why don't you come back and join us as part of Melanie Peterson Outdoors and give us your 2 cents?
Well, I had some of those same reservations. What's that?
I said just
My
2.
2 cents. Oh, 2 cents, right. Okay, so 2 cents. I had my reservations. Melanie and I talked. Dave and I talked. Built a bullet. Gun worked perfect. Everything really was what I was hoping for on this hunt. And I do believe that there is a place for this, especially for people who like the challenges of bow hunting, the closeness that you have to be, but they might not be able to do that with a traditional bow because of the weight restrictions drawing those things. And then crossbows, of course, have unique limitations as well. So this technology does allow a very unique opportunity for people to pursue. And I'm impressed by it. I really am. I've been following this technology for 15 years, and we're at a point where it's going to go mainstream. This is going to be big.
Just touching on that, like you say, Mark, the technology is there, that it's not like a bow. We didn't sit at a water hole or over bait or anything like that. This was a traditional walk and stalk buffalo hunt. And that was the main key that intrigued me, is that we could get to 50 yards or 50 or 60 yards and still be comfortable enough to make sure that we can shoot this buffalo humanely and safely. So it's not I don't want to compare it exactly to bow hunting, but there is a similarity. But yeah, it's something that I wish we could get those guns over here, and I think there's a big market in South Africa and Africa for these big bore air rifles.
We're working on it right now.
Well, and Mark and Dave, you said that you had to get permit, so you had to go through the whole process in South Africa to take it with that rifle.
Well, first off, the first concern was to get a rifle permit. Traveling, Mark had a lot of admin on the British Airways side. I had a lot of admin on the South African airport here to make sure that when these guys all arrive with this gun that's got valves and guppy tanks and compressors, that they difficult as we thought it would be. We brought it in, and the rifle permits were approved. Then the second was making sure that Nature Conservation and Parks Board was happy with the penetration and the foot-pound energy, and obviously the muzzle velocity as well as the grain of the bullet all falls in line with what the norms and standards is for the nature conservation side.
And with that, we've all seen the picture, and we had a very successful hunt. And Melanie, where do you go from here? What's the next challenge?
Well, we're looking at perfecting this air rifle. I'm not going to say that there wasn't, a few hiccups along the way dealing with, air, but we're perfecting the rifle. We're actually trying to open some doors to be able to bring air rifles and actually have air rifles over in South Africa so that we don't have to travel back and forth with them. But I think there's a whole new world of technology available too. I mean, we need to work on scopes. We need to work on some more ammunition. There's a lot of doors that can be opened with this brand new. I don't know what you would call it. I guess a brand new segment to the hunting industry. We've got crossbows, we've got compound bows, we've got long range rifles, and now we've got big bore air rifles.
Well, I'm sitting here, and especially for women, I don't want to shoot a 500 nitro. My 375 Ruger is fun enough, and but you think about that. There's absolutely, I don't think, any kick. The sound goes away. It goes or poof or whatever. So you don't have a kick, and you have some sort of escaping gases, but there's no bang because there's no explosion, so to speak. So what a wonderful journey you're on, and we're going to wrap the show up, ladies and gentlemen. Tell people how to get in touch with you or reach out to you. Send an email. How do you want people to reach out to you?
Well, I have a Facebook page, Melanie Peterson Outdoors, and you'll actually get to see the video of my hunt. I think it'll be live next week, and we will showcase that on Melanie Peterson Outdoors first. But you'll actually get to see the play-by-play, and you'll get to feel the excitement just as we've told you about here on this show today. Dave, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody how to get a hold of you to book a hunt?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Dave Freeburn Safaris, and webpage is davefreeburn.com.
And Mark and I, like I said, Mark and I are at Melanie Peterson Outdoors, and we do have a website that'll be up next week as well.
Yeah, it's been our primary source of communication is through the social media, because we're doing kind of our experiment on seeing how well social media promotes in and of itself. And that's the best way to contact us right now. Messaging, you can easily get a hold of us. You'll see we respond within less than 24 hours most of the time. And any questions that people have, you can also, we have collaborators, with Lethal Air and some of the other guys that I'm going to talk to Dave with a little bit about here in the near future, because like Melanie said, we're trying to get some collaboration so that we have a mixed bag of air rifles to select from over in South Africa for not only our clients, but for other clients that want to hunt with Dave, and to make sure that he has access to some of the best equipment that's geared up to do exactly what needs to be done over there.
And Dave's working really closely with another gentleman. He's an outfitter there also, Choice Africa. They're trying to change some legislation within South Africa right now to kind of expand our opportunities. My dream is to actually have all of the big five with an air rifle.
Well, I hope you give me the opportunity. I look forward to you giving the opportunity to reporting and showing those hunts and possibly joining you over there on one of those hunts. That would be a neat thing for me. That's for sure. So, any last words, and then we're going to wrap the show.
We just need to make sure we get you behind one of these guns very soon.
Absolutely.
Dave?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. And Bruce, like everyone says, once you're behind that gun, Africa's waiting.
Yes, it is. Melanie?
Thank you so much again for having me, Bruce. You've been supportive of me through this entire process, and appreciate your support for the Extreme Huntress. And I look forward to working with you for years to come.
Amen to that, lady. And with that, folks, this is Bruce Hutchin, your host of Whitetail Rendezvous, saying this has been a little bit different podcast, but this is the future of hunting. And there's people out there that are innovating on all aspects of our hunting community. And with women being the fastest growing segment in the hunting community, it's people like Melanie and Mark and Dave that are opening up chapters that just a few years ago or maybe months ago weren't available for women. And so with that, we'll say good afternoon from Bruce Hutchin.
Hey, folks, we got a new sponsor. It's called Buckwild Coffee. What's so special about Buckwild Coffee? Well, a gazillion people go to Starbucks every day and drink coffee. Well, why shouldn't Buckwild Coffee offer you light, medium, or dark roast with free shipping? All you have to do is go to whitetailrendezvous.com, go to shop, and order your coffee. And I'll ship it out for free. Both Minnesota and La Crosse every single year. And he's got a pretty good thing going in Minnesota. And he breaks down how he's able to take a very nice mature deer last fall. And he's got some more on his hit list this year. So Jeff's doing something right. So I think you can learn something about hunting mature deer from Jeff, as well as finding out more about Bucks of Wisconsin and what they do and how they support local businesses and sell products that are manufactured not only just in the USA, but locally throughout Wisconsin. So it's a great show. Jeff's a great guy, and I can't wait to spend some time with him this fall.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.